Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack. Here's Jack.
Wow. What an improvement over Steely Dan. Golly, I have to say, that was like, that made you feel like moving, didn't it? Like moving.
Oh, I aced these.
Yeah.
I aced the Steely Dan.
You aced it. From our music extraordinaire,
We actually,
composer.
nationwide, we got rid of Steely Dan. We've erased.
Thank God.
Sort of Orwellian thing. We erased the existence.
30 years too late. I think I heard Charlie White playing in there somewhere.
Hey, there we go.
It
I
was
suppose.
dominant. The trombone was dominant.
Well, let me do my spiel here.
Would you?
All right, I will.
Is that Yiddish spiel?
Spiel. It has its roots in Yiddish. It's the Jack.
Oh, good.
Henke.
Oh, goodish.
It's the Jack Henke Show live. We are live again. Last week we weren't on because we were selling books in this room.
Yeah, where'd you go on your vacation?
I went to the front desk and checked out books.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Like a good librarian.
I actually lost color as opposed to getting a tan. It was really wonderful. So anyway, we're in the community room at the Cedarburg Public Library. We broadcast just about every Friday at noon, and today we have a fantastic roster of guests, kind of the education edition of the Jack Henke Show, which is funny because, saying the words Jack Henke and education
I know.
is the same as
Different. Just on the mean streets of Cedarburg.
It's just problematic. Anyway, we have Kristen. Mickie will be on. She's probably on her way right now, but she's busy attending to a gigantic
Maybe
boat.
somebody gave her one.
Well, there's
Slipped her a Mickey.
I'm glad you used that joke now as opposed to when she's here.
Well, she's listening, I'm sure, like everyone else in the country.
I would hope so. She is the theater director for the big musical Anything Goes. Thank you, Scott. That was awesome.
She has a few things on her plate this weekend.
I can't imagine what that's like this weekend for her. I mean, you're just a constant white knuckle from Thursday to Sunday, I'm assuming. So,
And you even have one of the Messerman mob is in there.
My daughter Jane, Jane covered the entire stage in paint.
And herself.
She did, and herself. So I don't recognize her anymore. Actually,
it's amazing how much work goes in the stage crew puts in on each one of those productions. It's fantastic.
Absolutely, it was nice seeing her at midnight with one crossed eye the last 2 weeks. So yeah, it was real good. And then we have the superintendent of schools,
Super Todd.
Yep,
That's what we call him.
Todd Bugnacki. So good
afternoon.
Welcome to the dais, as we say.
What dais is it?
It's a dais for radio shows, Jack.
I think that's Latin. Ask Alan.
Went from Yiddish to Latin. It's like 0 to 60.
Right up there with curriculumus.
I'm so glad you studied, Jack. Musical guest today, Charlie White, which is a cool name for a musician already. It's just like that.
It's a
just
cool name,
screams
period.
I can see it on an album, but of course they really don't make 33 1/3 vinyl anymore.
What?
But
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do, but
Yes.
it's coming back.
Yeah.
Depends which day the winds are blowing.
Nathaniel Rateliff just put one out.
Yes, he did. He's very good. Absolutely. So, Charlie has made the trombone his weapon of choice. So, fire away at 12:45, my friend.
Yes.
So,
I'm really looking forward to that.
that's gonna be great. Yeah, it's our first brass instrument besides the host. Well, that's brass instrument. I'm sorry. Hey!
Oh boy, what dais is it? Bad joke dais.
2/3 of a
God.
2/3.
Where
of
is
a
Kristen Mickie? Please speed up.
2/3 of
Can she get a
pun.
police
You.
escort?
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so
Too much freedom.
So Jack, what have you been up to for 2 weeks? We had 2 weeks that you didn't have a chance to give us a glimpse into your life. So please.
Thankfully, you sound so thankful. Well, I've been here checking out books.
This is the first I'm seeing of you actually in 2 weeks. So.
No, it's been a good 2 weeks. I really missed it last week. I'm sure with all the emails and letters that we got flooded with saying, "Where are you?" How did the book sale go, by the way?
We sold a lot.
Okay. Wow, that's really up to date. Thank you for that.
Well, maybe a bunch.
Okay. Boy, the synonyms are flying. You're really just showing off in front of Alan, for God's sakes.
We charged by the word, actually, so it worked out really well. Tried to push a lot of Charles Dickens out the door.
Oh, God. Another Charles.
That's right.
We got Charles as our wild today. It was beautiful frigid weather in Cedarburg
Yeah.
and surrounding everywhere around here.
I killed. My family killed 2 cars this week. We have 2.
Was anyone hurt in them?
No. They just both had a complete meltdown.
Oh,
And
the drivers or the cars?
It was nice, but well, one begets the other, my friend.
Right, in this weather especially.
So, yeah, it was nice. One car died on a Monday, the other died on a Wednesday. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was fun. It was really exciting. We had this extra nest egg actually laying around, and we had nothing to spend it on. So it was
Funny how that happens.
It worked out so well. Yeah.
How are the cars? Is there any life expectancy back for them?
Both have returned from the operating table.
Excellent. Good.
And actually, as of this afternoon, number 2, I think they're still doing a little rehab there.
Excellent.
Walking it around the dealership, telling it to close up the back of its, hospital gown. Your taillights are showing.
Oh, God. Kristen, Mickie. Speaking of cars, though, I was a little curious this week because I thought we might have an incident. The primary election for the town of Cedarburg, wards 5 through 8, they used to be held at the fire station. It's been moved to Circle B. And I thought, my God, if there's a snowstorm,
I voted a spare actually, which is nice.
and
Split.
If any of the voters that didn't vote the right way, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, would get plowed in, like the person did a couple weeks ago.
You got to be very careful at Circle B.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of careful people there.
Yes, caution is king at Circle. That's absolutely true.
That, and I noticed on some of the Facebook pages about Cedarburg that there's really an outrage about people parking.
And Cedarburg outrage is so charming. It really, everything about us is charming as well as our outrage.
But I can't give it. More people are worked up about parking not within the lines. I mean, if I see it, I go, klutz, but or inconsiderate.
They're taking people to task.
Oh, but I still feel. I think we should put out a poll. I think the no blinkers is worse than parking between the lines.
Todd,
what do you think,
about the
Super
blinker
Todd?
thing?
Excuse me, I have to go move my car.
Make sure you use your blinker when you do, for God's sakes. What do you think, Todd? What offends thee more? See, I'm using these.
The blinker.
Yes.
The blinker. Yeah.
Our first poll is in. our first entry is in.
Whatever Todd says goes. Maybe we'll get a referendum on it.
Yeah, for sure.
The R word.
Oh my! So on the Cedarburg Uncensored page, especially, they are
uncensored.
They are uncensored. They're off the chain, and they are taking photographs of people who are parking using 2 spaces.
Wow.
Mostly at the Pig, and I noticed at City Hall, which I thought was really funny.
Was it at City Hall?
There's at least 2 from City Hall.
And a crosswalk. I saw one on a crosswalk.
A little crosswalk action there too. Yeah.
I mean, at least a parked car is stationary. It's only going to do so much damage and aggravate you. And if you're special needs, it can be extra work. But I mean, if you don't use your blinker, you can be causing a lot of handicap.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, all right, I've said my piece.
I've had at least 2 parked fender benders myself. It's amazing how that worked out.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
On a lighter note,
Yes. Yes.
Cedarburg was number 2
Yes.
in the best place to raise a family in Wisconsin.
That's true.
Right behind Mequon in the news graphic.
We have to get those people. What is going on in Mequon that we're not doing better?
Nothing.
I mean,
They just got more money.
You're going there, are you?
Right?
Okay.
They do.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go there right away, Jack.
Well,
but okay.
Super Todd slipped me a note, and I knew what to say. All right, on the griddle right away. What's with number 2? What's up with that?
I don't know what's going on. Number 1, schools.
That's right.
Uh-oh.
I think there's other factors that are used in determining that ranking. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
But at least they got something right. Grafton was well behind. at 4. 4.
And between them was someplace I had not heard of.
What?
I don't know. Did you get the notes there, Scott? I can't remember what number 3 was, but it was just like...
Newburgh?
It was not Newburgh. It was absolutely not Newburgh. Who? Oh, yeah. No,
Saukdonia?
Yeah, they're doing okay. They're fine.
Freeburg.
If I leave here tomorrow.
How about right now? Should we go to our first break there, Sonny?
Good time to go for a break,
and then
and,
we'll come back. If Kristen's not here, she's going to get skipped. I've got like a stack of questions for these two guys.
All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. All right, we're going to cut to a commercial, national commercials, probably for Home Depot or somewhere else where you can tear your kitchen.
Not as good as Byers.
Not nearly.
And also, I think you get some hardware at the Pig.
Oh, sure.
They are our official liquor store. I've heard tell that they sell groceries as well.
I know where I'm going after the show. Anyway, we'll be back, everybody.
School supplies as well.
Thank you, Todd. Todd's here to bail us out today. I love that. All right, we'll be back just after this. Thanks, everybody. Back on the Jack Henke Show, and as our title song says, here's Jack.
Wow, and as it should be, anything goes. Because Kristen Mickie, did I say that right? It's not Mickie?
You did.
All right. The head drama guru
Yeah,
of
I'll
the,
take that. But
of the central region of the United States.
Don't I wish? No. Lead director.
Lead director.
There you go.
And this is really a downtime for you, right? I mean, there's nothing going on in your world.
Yeah, no, it's very quiet.
Excellent. Anything goes. Started last night, correct?
It did, yeah.
And how did it go?
It went really, really well, actually. Very well.
Good crowd opening night?
Good crowd opening night. And it went off without a hitch.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And we actually have one of the member of the Messerman mob is in your crew.
That is true. A member of the Messerman mob is in our crew. She's doing some really great artwork for us. In addition to what she does on the crew, she's doing some special things that we hope to showcase
Excellent.
in the near future.
I was trying to figure out why she's colored purple now. She has this kind of
That's a
purple
different
streak
show.
across her. You know? So,
Right.
what's going on over there? So, yeah.
Well, Kristen, how could you take us through when does preparation start for the show, and take us through some of the steps for it, please? For some people that don't know, they don't realize the amount of work and passion that's poured into production.
Yeah. So for this show, we actually taught the majority of students to tap dance. It's a tap show, and almost none of them knew how to tap dance. So we actually started last summer with a tap dance workshop that Fab had paid for with one of their grants. And we had about 35 kids, and the majority of them actually ended up auditioning for the musical and getting cast. So that was like really, really awesome. But we actually start production in for the acting and singing and dancing sort of stuff. We start in December. And we usually go into vocals first, then dancing, and then acting is sort of the last layer of that. Mm-hmm. Crew starts much sooner. Chris Bears, who's our technical director, was working with crew in September, already starting to plan things out in his technical theater design class. So it starts, we kind of hit the ground.
That's amazing.
Running.
Starts in September. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of dedication.
Absolutely, yeah.
And a lot of those kids aren't up on stage until they get called out at the end, but it's just great that they bring different kinds of talents and passions to the production.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very cool. Now, anything goes. Do you choose that, the musical that's going to be on, or how does that work?
We actually...
Todd is
nothing to do
the
with it.
superintendent is with a microphone and he's quiet for
Right,
once.
yeah,
He figured his 10 seconds are over.
It goes through a couple different channels. Like myself and Victoria Benson, the vocal music director, Chris Bears, the technical director, Paul Thur. We all sit down and have kind of like a pre-production meeting. We look at what our capabilities are, both in like what our set making capabilities are and what our current level of talent is, because we always want to make everybody look great. You know, like we don't want to do something that is out of our reach, so to speak. So we look at various different things, and then we choose and we run it past Mr. Kurth, and so far so good.
Mr. Kurth is...
Mr. Kurt, the the principal. Sorry, I'm working on very little sleep actually this week.
All right, we'll keep the questions a little slower, so don't worry about it. I understand.
Apologies.
No, that's great. So, and my son was in Anything Goes when he was a freshman back in 2007. And that's the first time I had never seen the movie or anything like that. I didn't know, that Cole Porter was involved in it so well. And he learned how to tap dance for it. So that was the first time. But it was a great, it was an eye-opening experience for a parent to go through that, to see how much, when I wasn't involved in theater things when I was in school. I was in other activities, but had no idea of the level of, I went to pick him up. I said, practice is going to be an hour. And I was in my car freezing for a couple hours. And I thought, what is going on in there?
Yeah. We typically have 2.5-hour rehearsals after school, and then on Sundays we have 3 to 4 hour large group rehearsals. So it is definitely a huge undertaking and a big commitment. Like if students are going to participate, they're there for the long haul.
Right.
Yeah.
And the show itself is funny, and it's very entertaining. It was great to see. It's not all, there are different levels of drama. There's serious, and then there's fun, and this one was a very fun show.
Yeah, and that's something that actually goes into our show selection process as well. We try to do a well-rounded season, so we try to have a drama, we try to have a comedy, and then we try to pick different genres within those things. So last year when we did Little Shop, it was a black comedy, and then the year before it was a contemporary comedy. So now we kind of did a throwback to the classic American theater comedy.
Very cool. And it has, as part of that classic, there's a love triangle in the story.
There is, yes.
And that always adds a little drama, and in this case, humor as well,
yes.
as you go through.
Yes.
And as we have Mr. Curriculum here, if it wasn't a love triangle, if it was a love trapezoid or something, I wonder, or a rhomboid, what that would be. Maybe Alan can help us with that when he comes up here.
Let's stay away from human growth and development. Keep that off the table.
Love parallelogram in college. It was ugly.
Anything goes, right?
That's right. Excellent. Boom. You're awesome. So, were you always involved in drama yourself personally, and how did you choose this career path?
Yeah, I actually was a drama kid in high school. And
so your parents were freezing in the car.
My parents were actually no. My parents were like, get a ride home. That's where my parents were. But yeah, I was a drama kid in high school. I went to college and studied English and theater in college, and I actually worked for the Goodman Theater right out of college in Chicago. And just through a different series of circumstances with my family, I ended up kind of falling into teaching and went back to Concordia for my post-bac degree and ended up teaching theater and English. I love it.
Oh, excellent. So are you from Illinois then?
I am from Illinois.
Oh, man.
I don't know if that's a good thing to say or not.
A Flatlander.
Yeah.
We tolerate it somewhat.
But I am a Packer fan, so...
Excellent. Well, you're redeemable.
Yes, there you go.
Bonus.
The doc called it.
Excellent. So you're an English teacher as well?
I am, yeah.
Oh, man. Well, good thing we all have to talk gooder today, so that there ain't no problems with you.
Your pronunciation of Illinois was right on there,
yeah.
Jack. Real good.
I saw a T-shirt the other day that said, "I'm silently correcting your grammar."
I do that. That's true. It's a what do they say? A job place hazard, a work hazard,
Yeah.
something like that.
Right. What else about the show would you like to tell people to say, get off your frozen rear and get down here and enjoy it?
It's just a really fun show to watch. I've been getting a lot of compliments on just like how energetic it is, how fun it is when you're kind of in the middle of the winter doldrums, having a show that is like that, that's bright, that's energetic, and just funny. It's been really fun to talk to the kids because the show is originally, 1930s, 40s origins. So some of the jokes that are in it, we've actually had to explain why they're funny, which has been actually really fun to do with our students, and it engages all audiences. it's just been a really good experience, I think, for everybody involved.
I find the jokes you have to explain are like gifts that keep on giving. They're just because it's funny to explain a joke. So as you fumble and stammer and say, "No, this is funny because ... You have a lot of familiarity with that, Jay.
Yes, I have to explain you all the time.
There we go.
My God, golly. And one other plug. I'm on the CPAC board, so I realize what a great facility it is to see a show.
It's an amazing facility, and actually, our set is ginormous. I mean, it's huge. And one of the things that we toyed with this year and actually made to fruition was a turntable within the set. We saw we took the kids to Theater Fest at UWM in the fall, and there was a turntable stage there, and the kids all like looked at each other and they were like, "Can we do that?" And we're like, "You can do anything you want to do." So like we really encouraged them to really reach for the unreachable, and they did it. I mean, the set's incredible.
Wow. Do they actually know what an original turntable was with records?
Some of them do. Records are actually making, or albums are making a comeback. Yeah.
Also, we can tell your English background. You said fruition in that sentence. That was pretty impressive.
If I use that word, you yell at me.
Jeff has among his many talents are pulling out words from that. That's one of his words. Hearken from days gone by. And
I'm fond of hearken.
Old stale words.
I hearken back to hearken quite a bit. So, yes. When Jane told me that you were doing a turntable, and I said, "Is this going to be motorized or manual?" And she said, "I don't know." This was originally, so I thought, a motorized turntable, just think what could go wrong. Right. But it is manual.
It is manual. It is manual. Right. Yes.
Absolutely.
Baby steps.
Well, you should know that Jane's boss and my boss went to see it last night. And
your wife?
Other boss. I'm a man of many bosses, Jane. I answer to many. And when she told me she was going, I said, "Well, have fun." But I was a little worried because she has expressed many times in the past, "I hate musicals." I thought, "Oh boy, here we go."
So she went to opening night.
She went last night, so that would be opening night. Yes. She came back this morning and was raving. So it was the most incredible thing. She loved it so much. I think you may have actually even turned her into a musical fan, which is not a small feat.
Wow.
So you definitely are doing something very magical over there.
Yeah.
And it's
magical big time.
Absolutely.
I do have one more question for you. Earlier on, you mentioned FAB. Could you just explain what that group is and what they do?
Yeah, absolutely. FAB is our Fine Arts Boosters group. It's a parent group who kind of has their hands in all of the fine arts at Cedarburg, and they offer opportunities for grants and for volunteering with all of the fine arts that Cedarburg has to offer, which is actually a lot. It's really impressive. I've worked in other districts, and that's something that's really incredible about Cedarburg is the support of the fine arts, and I'm really proud to be a part of that. So
fantastic, and you're making magic happen.
I'm trying to.
And succeeding. Well done.
Thank you.
And you have one more show. Don't you do a one act before the year's out? Is that something that happens?
We do. 3 years ago, we started doing a what we called a resource show to start. So we started in April because there was lots of like show hole sadness after finishing, the musical. They were like, "Well, what do we do now? It's February. There's lots of school left, And so I said, well, why don't we just start doing a resource show? So the premise of the resource show is that it starts in like late March. So they get a little bit of a break, like just enough of a break. And then we start... any student can be part of the resource show. We don't really have auditions. Like if you want to do it, you come to resource and you commit to doing it. And then we read a bunch of different plays. Sometimes students will write the production. The first year we did it around the theme of origins. So they took a bunch of origin stories and wrote a show around it, like a one-act show. And so then we rehearse in the resource period until May. So all of the rehearsals take place in that resource period of like 40 minutes or 35 minutes, whatever it ends up being. Probably less than that once they finally get settled and moving on and doing things. And they stage it, they direct it. I'm just kind of a warm body that watches, which is very difficult because I watch it and I'm like, no. So I often will give inquiry or ask questions. I'm like, have you thought about doing this?
You're kind of the Vulcan.
Massage it a little bit, yeah.
The Mr. Spock on the bridge.
Little
I
bit.
have no opinions,
That's
no
right.
emotions.
That's right. But I'm always amazed at like it all comes together. You know, it all just happens magically, actually.
Yeah.
Oftentimes.
Last year's was wild. I mean, screamingly funny. That was a blast. That was amazing. You had that worked to perfection. That was I was borderline Monty Python.
It was a
madness.
farce, yeah, for sure.
Wonderful. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
stuff. So.
Fantastic. I can't let you leave without putting a plug in for Kathleen Koster and Paul Thur. I know you mentioned him too.
They are amazing to work with.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely could not do what we do as well as we do it without Paul and Kathleen, for sure.
Yeah, Paul's like a magician.
Yeah,
when he
they
does
call
back
the kids call him the tech god.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Yes, it's high praise. It's high praise.
To get him a name tag with that on, that works out well. So anything goes. It's tonight at 7 p.m. and then Saturday at 7 and Sunday at 2 o'clock matinee.
You got it.
That is, get out there, Cedarburg, and support this show. I've heard wonderful things, and I'm going Saturday night with my wife, a date night. We might actually
Dinner and a show?
Might do dinner and a show. That'd be wonderful.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
Very
I'm
nice.
going to get dinner Saturday night.
Got to earn it, Sonny.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Kristen. Thanks for coming on. I know
Absolutely.
it's
It was
a
wonderful to be here.
wild time for you. So
Yes.
thank you for
Thanks for sprinting in.
absolutely.
Now you can sprint out and do whatever you had to do. That's great.
Right.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks.
guys.
We are going to go to a break. When we come back, we got some power hitters from the school system.
I'm scared.
I am too. We'll be back. Hashtag we are CSD, Jack.
Oh.
Wait. There's more?
That's one of those,
It's Swag Day on the Jack Henke Show. Oh, thank you. Wait. Sure. Thanks a lot. All right. Jack, we have pens. We've got squishy Lego blocks. Of course, now to make anything, I need 900 more of these, but that's okay. You know what's great about these? If you step on them on the way to the bathroom at 2 in the morning, it don't hurt.
Stress blocks.
It
Stress
don't.
blocks.
Now you start talking like that because the
Kristen's
English
gone.
teacher.
Kristen's gone.
Alan is still here.
Oh, sorry. C- for Jeff. Go ahead. Jack.
It don't hurt.
It don't hurt. All right.
Well, we are joined today. We're very happy about this. We've been trying to corner Todd for a long time. He's avoided us for as long as he could.
Yep.
But now that the referendum's over, he thought it'd be safe to come back out of hiding and join us.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
That was an arduous journey for you.
It was quite the journey.
But
yeah.
you did a hell of a job, heck of a job, and we're very proud of you. And joining you is Alan Groth. And Todd, would you like to introduce Alan?
Absolutely. Alan is the Director of Curriculum Instruction for the Cedarburg School District, so he's all things teaching and learning. And I thought...
They do that in schools?
Yeah, I know, right? They do. Yep.
It's their bread and butter, I hear.
It is. It's the heart of what we do. It's the heart of what we do. And I thought it'd be nice to have Alan come along and talk a little bit about how we build kids. And these blocks that I handed out, these Nerf blocks, hashtag we are CSD. It's just a good reminder that although we're in the midst of a building project, we build kids is what we do. So we don't build buildings, we build kids, and a lot of that happens in Alan's department. So I thought he'd come along and talk a little bit about what we're doing in that area.
Nice try to get the spotlight off yourself.
Yeah,
but
all right, you like that? I was handing the block off.
Alan will get his.
Yeah.
But a couple things, Todd.
Sure.
The building project you mentioned. Where are we? What's the status? And I know you put out. It's great. You put out a newsletter every Friday with a. But for the people who don't read it or aren't aware of it, please share with where we are.
Absolutely. So if you are interested in receiving a digital version of that update every Friday, you can contact the school district and we can add you to the email list. And we are on schedule and on budget.
What?
I know. Yep,
you guys aren't supposed to do that.
I know.
What's the matter with you?
I know. Schools do those kind of things. On schedule. We're on a bell schedule and we're sticking to it.
You'd never make it in Chicago.
No. Yeah, that's true. So we're excited that we are on schedule and on budget, and our elementary schools will be done as will the middle school in the fall. So September, when we come back to school, those 4 spaces will be done, and first phase of the high school will be done, and the second phase will be done in the fall of 21 when we come back to school. So everything's moving along nicely. Weather's been very cooperative as well.
Yes, great window for it.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, I ran into my first crush was my second grade teacher, and she had the nerve to not wait for me and she went and got married to some guy who was a nice guy too. It turns out.
This is
like
this isn't creepy.
Salt in the wounds.
Age didn't have anything.
But she asked me to ask you. When the projects are done, will you be having open houses for the public to come and take a look?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're right in the midst of that conversation right now. And our one thought is that we would actually open up all of our spaces on Saturday from like 10 to 2. And we would have a community ribbon cutting ceremony in each of those spaces, and then parents and community members can make their way through any of our buildings. So we're thinking of something along those lines, and more information will be out probably in the next month. And we also may have a ribbon cutting ceremony just for our students and our staff as well at the beginning of the school year.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep. It's a community project. We absolutely want to open it up and have everybody enjoy the spaces and see the spaces.
10 to 2, you should be doing it from like 6 a.m. to 6:45 on a Saturday morning.
Sure, we can.
You really want to see it? Come on down.
Yeah.
Bring a flashlight.
Yeah, we can arrange some. Yeah, we can have it open. Yeah, 24 hours, anytime. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that we've talked about throughout the course of the referendum is enrollment, and what's going on with trends? Has anything changed from when you were planning this to where we are now?
Yeah, so our enrollment continues to tick upwards, and so we are growing as a school system, which is wonderful to say because many school districts have flatlined or declining enrollment. So at the beginning of the year, we were up about 25 resident students, and as of January, we're up another 15. So for the school year, we're up about 40 resident students, and that's a huge number when you think about public education. You know, that's basically 2 classes at an elementary level of just 20 in each. So we are seeing that uptick, and that was really what was part of the driver behind this entire project. Let's look at our capacity and what kind of capacity do we have, and let's accommodate for future capacity, and that's what we're doing. So our enrollment's heading in the right direction, which is wonderful. And it's not just the school district. You know, they're not just coming here for the school district; they're coming here for a wonderful community. They're coming here to be a part of the radio show and listen to the radio show. You know, to come in here because they want to. There's a lot of factors that drive resident enrollment.
Mm-hmm. One of the other factors you mentioned was what are the things students look for, and it's career pathway opportunities. Those are expanding as well.
Yes, they are. So we had the director of the play here just on a bit ago, and she was talking about the set designs and where those have been built. We're actually in the hallways at the high school. So on a weekend leading up to the production, you could be in the hallway stepping over sets. The kids are painting them and building them in the hallways. And part of our building project was to create a tech theater space. And so when our space is open in the fall, the tech department is going to actually have a space where they can build these sets, and we're going to offer a course in tech theater design, which is wonderful. So we are thinking about all those different pathways and making certain that kids, if they're curious, they have an opportunity to kind of explore that curiosity. And that is what Alan is really about in the department and school system, making certain that kids understand and can discover their passion, and they can pursue and explore their curiosity and provide those pathways. Because when they do graduate from the system, we want to make certain they have a good sense of where they want to go in life. I don't want to hear that my child went on to 4 years of college and came back and just said, you know what, I'm interested in something else, and they didn't have enough of an opportunity to explore in high school. We want to provide them those opportunities to explore.
If you're aware of any radio nerds, you know where to send them, please.
We do, yeah.
In dire need of
you're still
squad.
You know, you if you remember in the fall, you came in and opened with our entire staff.
And they stayed?
And they stayed, and there's still conversation going on
I bet.
about how to integrate. It's positive conversation. It's all good.
My agent sells me very well.
I wish I could sell you. There are no takers. Another reason for the build-outs is safety and security, you mentioned. And I'll never forget reading one letter to the editor saying, why do they need all these luxuries thing? And it's not a question of luxury. It is, I mean, literally the stairways in particular were not good.
No, you're absolutely right, Jack. There are stairwells. And,
Excuse me. Did you hear that? He said I was absolutely right.
Yep. Can we play that back?
Well, Jack, I guess 2020 is over for you.
It's all downhill from here. I'm sorry, Todd, but yes, the hallways.
Yeah, so the hallways and the classroom spaces, and the buildings weren't designed for the types of offerings we have now and the traffic that we have in the hallways. And so you can see that in the old spaces that there were some areas that were just a hazard. And so we knew we had to address that safety issue. And that plays out in all of our buildings. So you can look at an elementary building, for example, and their hallways, they have areas that they're using for storage in the hallways. And so the hallways weren't designed to have cabinetry and bookshelves and tables in the hallways, and that's just due to a lack of capacity for storage and small learning spaces. So when you think about safety and security, you look at it through a lot of different lenses. You can look at it through the lunchrooms. Our lunchrooms were tight, and kids are packed in there, and especially at the high school, and you think about, okay, that's not safe for our kids to be in those kind of spaces. So looking through that lens, almost everything we're doing has some element of safety and security in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Often overlooked, I think.
It is often overlooked. Although I'll tell you, Jack, now it is a priority for all systems. You see it more often now than ever before, where schools are developing spaces that are safe. They're running safety and security drills with their kids all the way down to the elementary. It's become a priority of superintendents now.
Jack, we should have a safety drill on the show here.
Oh, man. Yeah. Nothing is safe or sacred here.
Yeah. I'd like to come see that.
I like when I come to the high school and visit, I love putting my card in there and
Right.
see the little slot and it pops up when you're done. It's just like the Jetsons.
It's like the Jetsons. Yeah, it's just making certain that all visitors are checked, and we want to make certain that our kids are safe and our staffs are safe. And so, we do welcome the visitors, and we try to do it in a non-intrusive way.
It's cool.
But it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. And when Kristen Mickie was on before, she mentioned how much support she gets from the parents and the community, and you get a lot of that here, and then also not only community, but a lot of them are bulldogs that have moved away. I mean, they don't forget. I mean, I'm a bulldog from 1981. We were kicking ass and having fun. We're the class of '81. That was our thing, and. In dog years,
that was beautiful, man.
In dog years, very inspirational. In dog years, I'd be 273 years old as a bulldog, but I'm still here.
You look good.
The old bulldogs won't go away.
You won't go away. Yeah.
And it's almost like a college pride.
It is.
What do you think that's all? How do you explain that?
Yeah, I think it's. How do I explain it? I guess I have to give thanks to all those who were here before me, because what has been created is something that we get to enjoy, and what we want to do is make certain we continue to build on that. And there are third, fourth generations coming through our system right now. You just don't find that in other school systems. A great deal of pride. A few years ago, we started an alumni association. Karen's here in the audience. I want to say I think we have roughly about 15,000 contacts in our alumni association.
15,000?
15,000, yes. And we have the Golden Bulldogs, which has been established for a number of years, those who hit that 50th year anniversary. And they have a reunion every year, and they come back and we give them a tour. And it just is, what we do is we are aware of where we've been and where we are now and where we're going. And so I think we spend a lot of time respecting where we've been. And you see it here. Our old school buildings are right down here. City occupies those. And so we continue just to give thanks to those who have brought us to this point. And the more we can engage the alumni, I think that the better we'll be. And one of our goals is to make certain when you think about pathways, is to create opportunities for our current kids to connect with those who have graduated from the system. So if I have a student who's interested in the medical field and is going to school in Dartmouth, and if there's somebody from our alumni association who went into the medical field in Dartmouth, how do we connect those two? And trying to give our students a leg up when it comes to networking and opportunities for the future.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. It's the right thing to do. Our kids, we're a tight community. There's a lot of opportunities to network, and we want our kids to just recognize that as they come through the system.
Networking will help them throughout their entire lives.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
go ahead, let's hear it.
No. Thank you, sir. Now on to Alan.
He knows you too well.
Alan, you've been talked about, and you haven't had a microphone yet to defend yourself. What do you have to say for yourself?
Glad to be here this afternoon.
Now, what's your title?
I am the Director of Curriculum and Instruction.
Now, that does not sound like a career you just fall into. You just one day you say, I'm going to be that. How did that happen?
For me, it was a progression over time. It started out as I go way back. I was born and raised in Port Washington, worked with students as a high school student.
You're a pirate?
I was. Yep. And
now he's a bulldog.
That's right.
Step up.
Yep. And through time and over time, I became a teacher, eventually a principal and director of instruction.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why do you do it?
Oh, I love making a difference for people. Ultimately, it's going to impact students. Students are at the center of everything I do. Today, as an example, it's a professional development day. So I'm behind the scenes orchestrating and organizing that and helping to strengthen teacher skills and present them with the professional content that relates to what they teach so that they can eventually make a difference for the students is what it's all about. And I find that greatly rewarding, and I guess you could say it's my mission.
Oh.
What do you got to say with that?
This is the guy behind the guy behind the guy.
Yeah, this is the guy. I also like his purple. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, Alan, I have a note here about engineering. Is engineering a strength of the Cedarburg school district, if I could say it?
I would say it is, and it's growing. So 3 years ago, I led a community effort with stakeholders here in the community, business leaders, teachers, students at the district level, and we did what's called a program review. So during the review, we look at all things from courses students are selecting. We looked at what was going on in the world in light of workforce-ready kinds of skills. And from that, the goal was to then consider what kind of course adjustments would we make specifically in our tech ed area. When we did that, though, we incorporated what we call STEAM. So we looked at the science, the technical areas, the art, math, and brought all that together and looked at really a comprehensive review of the system. Out of that, we learned a lot. We learned that Wisconsin has new engineering standards. We recognize that though we've got Project Lead the Way classes, engineering wasn't a strand through the whole system. So we've made some intentional steps now to build an engineering experience for all students, 4K through 12th grade. So we are preparing in roughly 3 weeks to deploy a new engineering curriculum for all our elementary students. So teachers are all going to be trained on how to use what's called Rockenbach, which is engineering modeling design equipment, and they're going to learn about the engineering process and then use that process to actually build and design together. So that's just one example. This afternoon at the high school, 612 teachers are going to learn around maker-centered learning. So it's a pretty significant book study. We're studying the research about why maker-centered learning is important to occur for all students. And maker-centered kind of leans itself into engineering. It's the tinkering and the creating, the importance of critical thinking, problem solving, taking what you learn, important core content, and actually applying it. And so teachers this afternoon are going to learn about the process. They're going to actually be taken through, certainly receive the research behind the decision to infuse more maker-centered learning in all our courses. And then they'll have actually get to experience an activity that relates to their content area. And all of this is really preparing the system for what's going to happen next year, where we're going to have maker spaces in our elementary. We've already got some PLTW spaces at the middle school and a new Fab Lab maker space at the high school. So if you're a teacher at the high school now, as one example, you're going to have a new space that you can take your students to actually apply something that they're learning inside the class in a space where they've never had that before. So a lot of times you're restricted as a teacher in a classroom that isn't necessarily equipped for that level of creation, and this new space will afford them that opportunity. So today is a big day. Today's the next phase of the process, really educating everyone around it. So if you're a parent in the community, I think you can see our tracks of our professional learning and how engineering is really being infused now K-12.
Putting in one of those here at the library too, Makerspace.
Correct.
It's on its way. Yeah,
That's exciting.
So
It is really exciting, and you think about so the why behind that. So why are we doing this? Is to prepare our students for the world of work, their career, and making certain that they have opportunities in the high school to work with their hands, to problem solve, be creative, and prepare themselves for college, the workforce, service, wherever they may want to go. And we know that the job market is changing rapidly, and so we talk a lot about learnability. Teaching the skills, teaching kids how to have that skill of learnability. So making certain that when they leave our system, go on to college, that they can switch jobs and they can learn and move, because we know those careers are going to be pretty fluid when they graduate.
You know, Jack, I want to be Billy Madison. I want to go back to school. The A's were kind of
drab.
Yeah. We didn't get to have this kind of fun.
You know what? I'm really disappointed that
you guys. Can I enroll?
Yeah,
you got the paperwork with you? I'm going.
It's really a shame that Todd couldn't find somebody that had a little passion for their.
I know, right?
Their
I know.
work. We asked Alan something, and
I got to pump him up every day.
My God, it was like, go team.
Yeah, it's a good team.
Almost made me want to become an engineer. Almost.
Nice.
We're so close.
So close.
It's never too late.
You have a lot of other interesting things going on. There's a new math program at the elementary levels.
Correct.
Yep. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yep. So that is brand new this year, and a lot of thought went into the resource that we selected. And teachers actually this morning was all designed around their professional development in the area of mathematics, and really rewarding. Teachers are very they're learning a lot about the importance of preparing students to have lots of strategies on how to approach problems before them, understanding that all children are not alike, that a strategy to solve a problem that you would use and feel comfortable with might be different than myself or Todd. So really equipping teachers to understand those strategies and really going deeper with the math content. So it's been a lot of heavy lifting for them. It's been a real shift, but really excellent for our kids and preparing them for their futures.
Great for the teachers too, because it's not a static. I mean, teaching is evolving. I've heard, and here it sounds like it's very evolving, and you are supporting the evolution, and it's got to be a great way to attract talent to the Cedarburg School District. I would think as well.
Yeah, but it's an important piece to my job to make. It's one thing to suggest or implement a change, but to support the educators along the way is critical. They go hand in hand.
Great.
Yeah, so it is all about opportunities for us, and not only for our students, but for our staff. It's important that they stay fresh with the content and they're innovative with their practices, and we want to afford them opportunities like we do our students. And we have a student here today who's going to play for us, and it's a band program and a jazz program and drama. That's all part of a comprehensive high school offering, and that's we're excited to be able to offer that here in Cedarburg.
You know why I said we should have Todd on today? Because he's a segue master. He brought us to the next segment better than anyone possibly could.
It's very fantastic. I got one last comment though. You mean this isn't a day off? Teachers don't go bowling today or anything like that. They are actually learning to learn, help learn. I mean, when us Golden Bulldogs, we'd see them at the bowling alley, but not anymore.
Getting their car plowed in.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
Alan, anything else you'd like to say that we haven't asked you, or any other updates you'd like to provide?
Well, I think that gives you a comprehensive view of the two areas that we're really working steadfastly on. And there are lots of new courses being offered next year to our students at the high school. And again, it's this leaning into technology and looking towards the future. We're going to be offering a new drone certification class at the high school. So students, juniors or seniors, will actually learn how to not just fly a drone, but really be faced with the programming behind flying drones and be equipped to take a certification test to actually professionally fly drones. We have another course that's being offered in the computer science class about wearable technology and just the infusion of computer programming in the engineering area. So it's crossing over now into engineering. So lots of exciting things going on.
As you're talking, Todd is just smiling with pride, saying, and he doesn't even have to say it. He's physically saying, "So there, Jack, take that."
The skies above the skies above Cedarburg are about to get a lot busier.
Oh man, I'm very excited about drones. Can you program one to deliver pizza? Can you do that for me? I'm very excited.
See what we can do.
The great uses of technology. I'm all about it.
Yep.
All right.
Fantastic.
So I think it's that time.
It's time to go to sell some stuff, of course. And when we come back, it's not me, it's them. And we have to.
When we come back,
Charlie White will be
the segment we've all been waiting for.
This has been pretty exciting. Our first major brass instrument, present company excluded, of course. All right.
Yeah,
we'll be back.
Always said you were a big brass.
We'll be back, folks.
You're up, Jack. We are pleased as punch to introduce our first brass instrument player, Mr. Charlie White from Cedarburg High School. And here's Charlie.
One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3.
Fantastic.
That's great. Wow. That's terrific.
So, Charlie, you've been playing professionally for how many decades now?
Decades, maybe a half. One.
That was really, really good.
Really fantastic.
How did you choose to start the trombone? What was what got you?
When I was picking my instrument in 5th grade, I went to the White House of Music, which is a place where you can try out and buy instruments, and I was under the, I was thinking about trying the saxophone, but my parents, they really wanted me to try every single instrument, which I now yes, that was the best thing I could have done. And I tried the trombone, and I fell in love immediately. It's just a magical instrument. You can do so much with it, and love everything about it.
It was really, really good. It's amazing to me whenever I hear brass instrument being played. I think big time entertainment. It's just got a different groove to it. It really, everybody's tapping their toes in here. It was really, really well done. And also, it tells you your parents are right every once in a while. How about that?
More than every once in a while. They're
wow.
great.
This is recorded. You can take this and play this. Speaking of his parents, Terry and Mark White are here in our audience. Very beaming parents over here, as they should be. That was fantastic. Bulldog, you have anything for Charlie, or should we hear another?
How can I possibly even just go, man, go?
Wow! Don't try and sound like a hep cat. Go, man, go.
Well, the song I just played was The Very Thought of You, and the next one I will be playing is Billy's Bounce by Charlie Parker.
Ooh, all right. That'll work.
Yeah.
And on accompaniment, Todd Bugnacki, Superintendent of Schools.
He's everywhere.
You are so good, Todd.
Jack, say something.
No, we're good.
No, he's
Ready.
All right.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Charlie White, folks. Wow.
Groovy.
Holy cow. That is fantastic.
Charlie, what year are you in school?
I'm a sophomore in high school.
Good. So you got 2 more years.
We get him for 2 more years, Jack.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
Sure.
excellent.
We need the Jack Henke Show band. I think we have our first. Yes.
Charlie and Todd.
Absolutely. Todd on finger.
Todd on finger.
We'll get you a triangle or something, Todd.
Not a triangle again.
That's right. We got to wrap things up. We're kind of overtime, but I wonder if we could actually convince you, Charlie, to play us out as we're heading up the road.
Hang on, before we do one, who's on next week?
I got one more. So
Okay,
Okay.
great.
All right. Fantastic.
Next week is...
Next week.
Nah, don't worry about it. But
Okay, good.
Anything goes this weekend.
Bud Lincoln might be on next week. I hear good things.
Bud Lincoln was hungover today.
Great.
So he'll be back next week.
Oh, good.
Nothing but the best.
Anything goes this weekend.
This weekend, tonight,
Saturday night, both at 7, and a matinee at 2 on Sunday.
2 o'clock Sunday, absolutely.
And the finest in jazz right here.
Holy cow. Got some good music here today.
That's
Thank you,
right.
Charlie. That was fantastic.
It really is.
You know, you see someone who's found their instrument and they just become one. I mean, it's just like, you know.
All I'm thinking of is I can't breathe like that, much less
totally.
to it.
Absolutely. Good stuff, everybody. We'll be back next week here in the community room. Please come on down and see
Charlie,
us live in
what is
person.
it? What is this going to be, Charlie?
This is It's From Heaven.
It's from heaven.
All right, quick, Alan Groth, thank you. Todd Bugnacki, thank you so much. Kristen, Mickie, thank you, everybody. Thank you to Linda Pershala, the library director who lets us do this. David Nimmer, the assistant director. Thank you, Jack, for having a show.
What about Terry and Mark White, for God's sake? Thank you for
Terry
Charlie.
Thank you for Charlie.
Yeah, come on.
Absolutely. Thank you to Terry Sweet for our incredible theme that we use this week.
Karen Elgelhoff.
Absolutely. Across
Pitching
the
in,
board. Sure.
keeping
sure.
these guys
thank
on
you
their
very
toes.
much. Absolutely. Thank you, Elizabeth, for stopping by. I mentioned you on the radio today. I told you I would. All
The
right.
library's music aficionado.
Yeah, very much
Elizabeth.
so. Very much so. All right. Thank you, Charlie. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, my name is Donald Durbin. I am the Senior Civil Defense Coordinator for the City of Newburgh. It is incumbent upon me to regretfully inform you that our air raid sirens will be inoperative until August 31st of this year. The employee in charge of paying the bill didn't, and all of the air raid equipment was repossessed last week Thursday by Jenkins Outdoor Alert Systems, LLC. I would like at this time to invite City Clerk Andy Lackershanks to publicly apologize on these airwaves, but knowing Andy, he probably is ice fishing until March. Look to our Facebook page for further updates, including any potential air raid activity we will post. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Andy Lackershanks. I am the city clerk for the city of Newburgh. Regarding Mr. Durbin's recent public service announcement regarding the payment of invoices regarding the air raid sirens, I would like to apologize, but this is an apology with an explanation. While it is true that I am the person who pays the bills around here, I was instructed to put a stamp on each invoice marking them paid along with the date they are paid. Well, Dolores Pankratz, who is our office manager here, is supposed to buy office supplies, and I told her last month that I was getting low on ink for my stamper. Well, so I go to stamp last month's invoices, and guess what? No ink. If they don't get stamped, they don't get paid, and that comes right from the head honcho around here. So, Dolores, if you're listening, maybe you can, come on the radio here and tell everyone why you're not buying office supplies for the office. Don't even get me started on our lack of sticky notes, manila envelopes, and staples. I had to chew up some juicy fruit gum to tack the minutes from last month's town council meeting on the board. So this is Andy from Town Hall again, and thank you.
Hello, this is Dolores Pankratz, office manager of City Hall. Yeah, so I don't appreciate being ridiculed and berated on the radio. Andy Lankershanks is a turd. Everybody knows it. He picks his nose and wipes it on the underside of his desk. Come on down to Town Hall and I'll show you what his desk looks like. So for your information, Andy, I had to use all of petty cash last month to pay for the employee tailgate party from last summer. Seems that someone forgot to pay off the charge account to Harlow's grocery store. That was like a $500 bratwurst bill. Plus, you add relish and mustard, and we're talking some big-ass bucks, okay? So maybe, before you start trashing certain office managers on the radio here, maybe look around at the notches on your belt and do the math regarding how many brats you put away back in August. Booger boy. Yeah, okay, so this is Dolores from Town Hall. And whoever keeps calling my extension and hanging up every day at 3 o'clock, knock it off. I'm sick of your crap. Thank you. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba.